This is episode 17 of Impostor Syndrome, and today I have Marei Annis? Or is it?
It's Marei.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
it completely wrong.
Yeah, that's no problem. Everyone does. It's really like not self-explanatory at all from how
Yeah.
it's written.
We only met in person like once 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And your last name, is it Annis or Anise?
Anise. Yeah,
Annis. Okay.
Anise. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. So I at least got that part right. So, could you give a brief explanation of what you do in the entertainment industry?
Sure. Well, I guess like the biggest thing to start with is that I've been running my own film production company now for the past 2 years. Yeah, two
Mm.
almost 2.5 years now. Um, Started out years ago as a director. Currently, I'm a lot more on the producing side. I'm an actress as well, which is like sometimes happens a lot. Like recently with producing, it's been a bit more in the background. And then also, I don't know if this, well, it's also entertainment. So I'll mention it that I'm also in a band that is that is taking up quite a bit of room in my artistic life now, which is very fun.
So, yeah, so you're a jack of all trades. That I didn't know you had a
Sort of.
production company.
Yeah, it's like it. Yeah, I guess it's sort of. Um, yeah. No. Well. Yeah, I do.
That's cool. And the band is called Turbo Witch. Yeah.
Yes.
How do you describe? I've been listening to a couple of the songs. What do you consider yourselves? Because it's an interesting mishmash of stuff.
Yeah, we go boring and just call it a rock band.
That's safe.
And yeah, and then if people want to know more, then we go on to explain that usually each of our songs has a bit of influence from somewhere else. So, but it varies. Like we have some tango elements in one of the songs, and then our guitarist is kind of a blues and bossa nova enthusiast. So that gets in there here and there. And then my vocal training originally was classical opera training. So there's an element of that here and there, and yeah, mostly we just kind of play around with whatever we like, but the consistency definitely is rock. So
Hmm.
that's yeah, so that's like the safe hashtag for everything.
Yeah. No, that's good. Because I hate it when bands are just it's one thing, with the exception of like
Mm.
Slayer. But
Mm.
like,
Oh yeah.
yeah. But like, yeah, I noticed. I don't know if it's. Is there a little bit of because you're German? Is there a little bit of like German folk in it? Because I felt like I noticed some sort of a folky vibe in some of your songs.
Mm. I think if there is a folky vibe in it, it comes more from the I don't know, maybe more from the UK influence because like technically we're a London-based band
Mm.
because again like technically I live in London at the moment and we like the band as we are now got together in London and then our guitarist is half Welsh, half German and I think probably like that style influence would be more from like to be honest, I don't really know what German folk music would
Me
even
neither.
sound like.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
just
safe to
noticed
say that
there's yeah. Yeah, I just
that
noticed there's a certain there was something about it that seemed Europe, especially European to me. I didn't know what it was, but
mm,
yeah.
yeah, I mean there's definitely I don't know, I feel like there's some influence from everything there and like I mean
Yeah.
obviously we keep exploring because in order for ourselves to keep it interesting we like to add and explore new different things all the time so like we just just now we recorded our first song in Japanese.
Really?
And there's definitely a lot of influence from like Japanese rock and metal bands in that.
Oh, I'm
And
excited to hear that.
yeah, it's a great song. We've just finished recording. We've also just finished shooting the music video for it already. So fingers crossed, there will be an official release of that very soon.
Yeah, I look forward to that. I do like a lot of Japanese, like at least I can't name a whole lot of bands, but like I do like that sound. It's
Mm,
very different from Western rock for sure.
yeah, yeah. Actually, like funny enough, some of the European influence you hear might even be a little bit of Japanese influence because I feel like what Japanese musicians are doing is they took everything that Western musicians kind of started in like the late 60s to 80s,
Yeah,
and then they just kind of like technically perfected it and took it
yeah,
to the also like the level that recording technology and everything is at now. Obviously is a lot further advanced from back then, and they incorporated all of that and just brought it to a whole other level, like sprinkling a bit of the usual Japanese perfection onto
yeah.
everything. And so you get something that sounds like it originates in like older European stuff, but
Mm.
then is like enhanced by everything they could possibly find.
One thing I love about Japanese music is they use a lot of jazz. Like they're big
Mm,
into jazz over there, so it really
yeah,
comes through in their music.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and so you said you had a production company now. What's it called?
It's called All Visions Align, or short AVA.
Okay. And what have you done? Like, what kind of projects have you guys done?
So just now, like pretty much literally just now, we finished our second feature film, which was a or is a thriller. We've actually just released the first teaser for that today. Um, and the very cool thing about this film was that the way we made it, it was set up as a challenge for ourselves that we would complete everything from basically from pre-production to last day of production within 7 days, and then took another 3 days to edit the first like rough cut.
Wait,
And
so you did all the production and shot it in 7 days?
yeah, yeah. And the craziest thing is the film is actually really good. It's like it's I mean, like, of course, I say that because it's my
Yeah, we
film,
have to
and
judge that for ourselves.
but yeah, no, like, I feel like everyone, and also like we were the tiniest possible team. We were 6 people on set, 3 actors, and then main camera, and then I directed, although like directing is almost the wrong word for it because we also did develop the story as we went along. It was not entirely improvised. It was not like just randomly throwing some actors in a room and saying just do whatever. So there was a concept behind it that I feel will probably like be explained further at some point in like an audio commentary to the film or something, because it was very complex. It was kind of like improvised writing as well,
Hmm.
in a way. And then yeah, and I directed, but at the same time I also did the second camera. So we were always shooting with 2 cameras at the same time. And yeah, that was it. That was the whole crew and cast, 6 people, 7 days.
I assume
And
it's a bottle film.
it's a like
One set the whole time.
yeah, yes. I mean, it's all filmed in one house. It's like we we did a similar thing in a way 2 years ago with our first feature film, which was a like fully scripted and everything, which we also kind of shot in record time, but with a much bigger crew and a lot more planning involved. And that one really almost only took place in one room. For this film, we had the luxury that we had an old farmhouse that we could use. So like it was almost like every day we like kept discovering new rooms that we hadn't found before in this house.
Is it a horror
Um,
film? Because farmhouses are inherently creepy.
Yeah, it was creepy. It was it's not a horror film. It's like it's a psychological thriller with also a lot of comedy elements in it actually, which I love because it's like the suspense is definitely there throughout the whole film, but there are also moments where I mean, like on set, there are actually some parts where I was doing camera, and you can see in the footage that I'm shaking because I was laughing so much. Yeah,
Gotta
but the
get a
house
tripod.
was. Yeah, it's hard if you don't know exactly what the action is going to be, so you need to kind of be able to follow the actors around as they go. So
Yeah.
tripod was really an option.
And no steady
Um,
cam.
well, the main camera operator had a was using a Ronin, like the awesome little thing that I think it's.
I'm
Oh
not
god,
really in that
this is
world.
super embarrassing. I'm not really either.
That's
So
okay.
um yeah, no, it's like it's one of these things that just balances the camera perfectly. So
Yeah.
it's very, yeah, it is. I think it is a steady cam, but it's like one of these like very tiny things that where you wouldn't believe that it's able to do that with being just this tiny thing. I mean, I'm saying tiny thing. It still meant that she had to constantly hold the full weight of the camera and that thing,
Yeah.
and not collapse, and always be ready to move and
Yeah.
like randomly run up some stairs and
I've seen them
everything with.
before. Yeah. I've seen people operating it. They're they're kind of a mind fuck when you first see it because it's like the camera stand and they'll be doing like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's really impressive. The only other film I could think of that was not shot that way, but David Lynch had a film called Inland Empire about 10
Oh,
years ago, and he
haven't
was
seen
writing
that.
that as they were shooting it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was similar to that. Like there was, I mean, basically every evening after we finished shooting, what happened was that the actors would just like get together and have a fun time and do like some trips and like explore the area and everything. And I locked myself in a dark room to plan out the next day. But it was always the next day was always based on what happened on the last day.
What kind of hours were you pulling for that?
Actually, this is another thing where we kind of like amaze ourselves. Normally, like usually, we started each day at 10 a.m. and we finished around 3 with whatever we needed to shoot on most days.
Wow.
So yeah, like I was like the first day where that happened, I felt like very uneasy about it because on our feature film that we shot 2 years ago, we sometimes had like 19-hour days and got behind schedule and had like all kinds of issues and like the usual thing what you expect from those kinds of endeavors. And so, but I think for this project we had a very like strong idea, all of us, that we wanted it to be a good, fun, healthy, productive experience whilst creating like a great product, but still like we did not want to jeopardize our health in the process and jeopardize everyone's fun and good mood. And somehow it just, I mean, the team was just absolutely incredible. Like we worked together so well, and like everyone was kind of looking out for each other the whole time. And there weren't, I mean, the good thing about having such a tiny crew is that you don't really have this like people management component
Yeah.
in there. You don't need to like constantly scream at someone to be quiet while we're recording sound,
We are
or
getting room tone.
ah! Yeah, no, like I mean, we had some like hilarious moments like that 2 years ago on that set where suddenly like we were ready for the shot and we were like, where's our sound guy? What did he go? And then he just randomly like 20 minutes later reappeared with like an ice cream cone in his hand. I was like, oh, I figured it'd still be some time, so I just got some ice
And he didn't
cream.
bring any for you guys?
No, no, he didn't.
Bastard.
No. Yeah. I mean, like we had a different sound guy on this. So. No, not for that reason, of course.
Yeah.
No, we like fortunately, really, since starting this company, all the people that we've worked with have been nothing short of amazing. Like we've not had any yeah any of the like horror stories what you usually expect from working with people that you've never worked with before or yeah, I'm sure uh, what
Yeah. I've
can happen, but
Yeah, I mean, thankfully on films, I'm usually like very isolated, so I don't have to deal
mm,
with too much of that.
yeah,
But I still feel
yeah,
the effects of it.
mm,
It's because I'm
yeah,
the
I
I'm
mean
the
like
last line of defense. So
yeah, I mean like we've jokingly established the like the sort of tagline sexy and reliable for our company because at
okay,
some point we just or not our company but for the team because at some point we just came up with a thought of like well that's all that you want and someone that you're working with they need to be sexy and reliable and it's everyone we've worked with has been cashing
sexy and
in not
reliable.
cashing in fulfilling that perfectly. Yeah.
So do you have a logo that suits that saying?
Well, I mean, the logo is more based on obviously like the the official like sort of bigger vision statement of our company, which is all visions align. And I mean, the logo I guess doesn't like directly make sense because it's a panther walking on the letters Ava. Um,
Okay,
but I mean, panthers are kind of sexy and reliable, I guess. So I think
sure.
it's probably I'm sure there's some
Just
sense in that.
just give it a bikini or something like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Not sure how that like comes across when you have like this really serious thriller movie starting and it's all like creepy sounds and everything, and then you got a panther in a bikini. I mean, why not?
exactly. You said
We'll
it's a
take
semi
it.
comedy.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
we
I
should take that into consideration.
yeah. Don't rely on me on this source. My ideas are not good. So that's quite a feat. But I think it's a testament to the idea that like working insane hours really isn't as efficient as people think it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's like it's the whole quantity quality thing. It's not necessarily like the more hours you put in, the better the result is going to be, or even like, or the more money you put in, or the more people you bring. It's really what you do with the time and resources that you have. And yeah, and like allowing yourself to surprise yourself with kind of breaking some of these very, very old ideas of it has to be that way, it has to be it even like it has to be hard, it has to be painful, you have to fight your way through to a great result.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. You can like obviously like when there are obstacles, which there will be, then you need to deal with them and figure out a way to overcome them, but it doesn't have to be an actual like painful struggle. You can just be efficient and
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the whole suffer for your art thing. Even though I do it. I fall into that trap.
yeah,
But there's like it becomes this point of pride and it's pointless. Like
yeah, yeah.
And you're
Yeah,
just
and I
hurting
think
yourself.
yeah. Yeah, and I think we all do fall into that trap. And I think like especially with our company, with our team, we definitely did that. We're all as contradictory as that sounds to this whole project, but we're all perfectionists in our own way. So I think something that really worked about this project as well was that it wasn't really even possible to be too much of a perfectionist, because there wasn't the space to be able to say, if I had planned this better, it would have turned out better, because there was no planning. Like the point was to really 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 work with what came up in the moment, and to trust that, and to trust the team, and to trust the people and the creativity and the work ethic that was present, and to just go with whatever new thing came up, and to kind of, funny enough, like not even really have a fixed expectation of what the outcome would have to be. And like kind of the magical thing is that not having that fixed expectation actually made the result something that is so much more amazing than I actually could have imagined if I had made a plan beforehand.
Hmm.
Or like, I mean, I'm saying made a plan. I mean, I did make a plan. I did make about 700 different plans of where maybe the story and maybe the work with the actors potentially could go, but it was never fixed. Like it has to come to this conclusion, or I have to get them to get to that point and not this. So yeah, so many great things happened that I'm so grateful that we just created the space where that was possible.
Yeah. And well, and I imagine you were just working within your limitations, because obviously there's some immense limitations when you're doing a project like that. So that helps with
Yeah,
creativity.
yeah, yeah, definitely. But like, it didn't even feel like limitations. It was like it didn't feel like there was anything that we couldn't do, that we like that would have, I don't know, been beneficial to the film.
Mm.
If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. But kind of coming back to the suffering for your art thing, the one thing I think of with that is it's hard not to fall into that trap, because so many of like the best pieces of art in the past, it's just
Mm,
in history, are made by messed up people that have horrible
yeah,
lives. Like,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. No,
yeah.
like I think suffering can definitely be a very, very, very good engine,
Mm,
or like a very, very good motivation. It's just that it's not the only one that's
yeah.
available, and I think that's kind of the thought. I mean, it's the kind of thing like when you like look at children when they learn how to walk, they don't necessarily think like, oh my god, I'm never gonna make it, it's so hard, I don't know how to get from here. They just keep falling down and falling down and falling down, and then just like whatever, they just do it until it turns out the way they think it should. And they're just kind of, it's it's more like a curiosity kind of drive. And I think we sort of like try to do something along those lines.
Yeah.
And fortunately it worked.
Yeah. And that's an interesting point you brought up about children too, is like they have that, like they don't judge themselves at all.
Yeah,
And then that just gets kind of just ripped out of us as we get older. Like by the
yeah,
time you're in middle school, that's just gone.
yeah,
Unless you're like a rare breed. But you know.
yeah. No, and I mean, like, all of this, what we accomplished now with this particular group of people is also, I mean, like, I know each and every one of us has gone through a lot of the suffering for your art thing. And I think we were also just incredibly lucky to kind of find each other in this joint purpose of trying to overcome that, because we kind of realized like we want to do both. We want to create the best art we can and express ourselves without actually maybe dying in the process.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. Not everything needs to be Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, although there's obviously, I mean, there's space for that, and I
Yeah.
admire that very much, but also, yeah, no, I also just I think it's always just exciting to like explore new possibilities and always kind of challenge whether the way that you're shown how to do something, whether that is actually the only way or whether you can come up with something else.
That's how the best art is made, is by somebody challenging the norms. Yeah. Which unfortunately I don't think happens enough nowadays. That's why it's
Yeah,
it's
it's
yeah.
yeah, I guess it's like I mean, it's a little bit what what we kind of what we kind of want to do with our company is to sort of like create a bit of more or um inhabit the sort of in between space again, because there's very 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 art film, which is so so in a way so detached from normal life that it
Yeah.
doesn't have the impact that it is trying to have. And then
Yeah.
there's the entirely commercial scene that is just about recreating the same thing that people like. And I think both things are absolutely valid. I think the films that people like, I mean, again, like going back to children, like as kids, you kind of you do want to hear the same story over and over and over and over and over again. And I feel like that just doesn't change for adults, really. Just we kind of
Yeah.
get tricked a little bit by the films being slightly like having slightly different names and the protagonists having slightly different hair colors, but it's still kind of the same story over and over and over again. And it's that's also totally cool that that keeps happening. Just there's like, yeah, I feel like there's a lot of possibility for, yeah, just more to where these two sides can maybe meet a little bit, where you still create something that pleases an audience and that is entertaining and that is fun and that is like commercially acceptable, but at the
Yeah.
same time also maybe like, yeah, challenges the way that stories are told a little bit, or
Mm.
turns some things around, or yeah, plays with some other aspects.
I think to a certain extent, Marvel's done a really good job of that. Like, none of their stories are reinventing the wheel by any stretch, but they're a massive franchise, and they've done a few movies in recent years that were, if you think about it, are pretty big risks. Like Guardians of the Galaxy. Like,
Yeah,
who would have thought that would be such a
yeah,
runaway success?
yeah, that's very
Yeah,
true. Yeah.
yeah. And but yeah, there's just such a hesitance. I will say the one that stands out to me right now coming out is another comic book. Did you see the trailer for the new Joker movie that's coming out?
I actually haven't seen it yet, but I'm actually
Oh.
really excited for it. I actually like we talked about it just on set of our film, because we had like the ultimate Joker and Harley cosplayers as part of our team. So
Oh,
it
oh,
was,
that's awesome.
yeah. No, but I haven't no, haven't seen the trailer yet.
It it's really like I like Logan did a lot to legitimize the superhero genre, but I think this one, if they don't fuck it up, it looks like it could do even more
Mm,
to
cool.
legitimize it. It's just so it's it's not it doesn't even look like a comic book movie. It's just
Mm.
it's so weird, and I could be completely wrong. I could see it and it's total trash, but yeah.
Yeah, sometimes trailers do that now.
Yeah.
They make it look really. Oh, that sounds really exciting.
Yeah. So the big question I ask every guest is, how do you feel like you hold yourself back in your pursuits?
Mm, um, I think, I mean, like the biggest way I was holding myself back, I have resolved by starting this company because I was trying for years and years and years to do way too much on my own, which is kind of like the obvious one. Um,
I'm guilty.
but yeah, yeah, I mean, like I can't, I still kind of almost can't believe how much has changed and how much more I've become the person that I feel is exactly who I want to be through opening up to allowing other people much 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 deeper into the process. So that's sort of like the big sort of life lesson that that I'm getting to, like, yeah, that I'm very lucky to have kind of taken the next step on. But as of today, the way I've been holding myself back over the past 2.5 years now, where finally things are taking off in terms of my work, was that I've basically I stopped. It came to a point where it was almost like I stopped to exist as a person outside of what I created.
Mm.
So um, it's like there were these points like where we finished shooting a film, and I was the last person to leave the set and also like clean up, and kind of everyone kind of went home to their lives, and I was standing there kind of thinking like, oh wait, this was my life.
Yeah.
Who am I now without this? And there wasn't really very much there at all. um
I relate. Like you get the feeling that like the only value you have is your art.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's tough because like every pretty much every single hobby that I have ties in with my art, so
Same.
there's yeah, there's nothing really, or there for a very very long time again that there wasn't really. um yeah, I mean, like almost all my friends were artists and people that I worked with, which is amazing. Like this is like 98% of that. I absolutely love the fact that the people that I work with most of the time are also my closest friends, and it's absolutely phenomenal to do that. But it also means that, like, that kind of need to take a conscious step to create kind of almost a new space for the friendship to exist outside of the work as well.
Or just have friends that are completely outside of it.
Yeah, yeah,
The tricky
yeah.
part with
So
that I've noticed is, especially when you're on the lower rungs, you're not making any money really, is that when you have friends that are not in the industry, they don't get it. Like if you
mm,
have somebody that's like just does a regular 9 to 5, that's all they do.
yeah,
There's kind of an inherent judgment on you that you're like, you're the frivolous art guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like I sort of started escaping that a little bit because like for the past almost, wow, almost 5 years now, I've been moving around a lot as well. So
Mm.
the people who kind of stayed consistent in my life were the people that I was still connected to through our work mostly. So that's, I guess, like almost an upside that I didn't even meet that many people anymore who would have fallen in that category.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's good
but
to
I
have them
still,
though.
mm,
Like I have one or two that that I'm close with that are not affiliated, but like those relationships are like there has to be a certain level of strength because
Mm,
like if you're working in this industry, like you can't have a negative influence around you. Otherwise, it's just gonna tank you.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what makes it hard to
Yeah.
have outside friends.
Yeah, I think maybe that's even part of the reason why I came to this point of sort of not really having a life outside of it anymore, because it was so, whenever it sort of showed up in some way, it was so stressful that I felt like I'd rather just move away from it. Um,
Mm.
yeah, again, fortunately, I have made some progress on that now, and I in for some reason in Tokyo, I now have a circle of friends who are zero affiliated with any kind of art, or at least like more on a like hobby level. And I've managed to sort of build a circle of friends there where I feel like it's it just it doesn't matter. It doesn't even really come up what we do for work. We just kind of have our shared time that is just, I don't know why, like I it's it's still very new to me in a way,
Mm.
and like good new, but yeah.
Yeah, you kind of want to like you don't want to talk about work because what we do is work.
Yeah.
It's just slightly more interesting, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like you're so consumed with it. It's all you can talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's a new skill that I need to actually like focus on developing, is to to just be a person. Uh, because it's like it's easy to have the, like I kind of have the sort of like, I mean the answers about everything, what I think about film, what I think about music, what I think about art, like those things are kind of almost like memorized stories in a way that I know how to present. And then when it's suddenly just about being,
Mm.
and just kind of like relying on, yeah, just being human, that feels
Yeah.
like more of a challenge than pulling off a 7-day feature film production.
Yeah. If you, I almost sometimes wish I had a thing for sports because I don't pay
Mm.
any attention to sports, but I wish I did because I would
Mm.
have something to talk about that's outside
Mm.
of music and film.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually, I'm trying to think now, because I do have some very, very amazing friends now that are not artists, and I'm trying to think like what, I mean, like I guess in a way it kind of creeps in, because then we tend to talk more about just kind of life in general, and sort of like our life paths, and how we got where we are, and how we got to meet the people who are in it, and like those kinds of conversations, which are then kind of back to the basics. What then you go on to make art about is life and humanity.
Yeah,
So it's kind of in there, but it's not like you're not actually talking about your production schedule. You're actually
it is
just
interesting
talking.
though. We get so so consumed by the art, and we ignore life. But life is what informs the art.
Yeah.
So like you do
Yeah,
need to have that
absolutely.
balance.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. Yeah, it's actually like I was working with an acting coach for quite a while, who always kind of said something like, who really emphasized that, like, very obviously it's all about the connection between people. And like he would say like, well, are you in a relationship? No. Well, then you better like find a boyfriend by Friday, because if you don't experience love, then how will you, like, how would you know how to
Mm,
present it? Like, how would you authentically actually demonstrate it on screen? So, um,
yeah.
yeah, I
That's
guess.
that's an interesting thing I've been struggling with lately too. Is I'm not dating. I'm not. particularly interested in it at the moment. But, or I am and I'm not. But like, cause
Okay.
like,
How?
I don't know where my career's going at the moment. I don't know if I'm gonna wind up moving out to LA soon, or so it
Okay.
feels weird to try to start things. But then I'm like, maybe I'm just making excuses
Mm,
for not doing it.
probably.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. But
Yeah, I think that's well, I guess I don't know. Yeah, see, this is a subject that I'm completely lost on as well.
me
Or
too.
it's like don't
It's
know how anything works.
yeah, I know. I
People,
do
feelings.
I
Scary.
envy like people that are completely comfortable with having a 9 to 5 so much because like it sounds so
Yeah.
much more simple. Because I have a 9 to 5. I still have to support myself while I support my art habit.
Mm,
But like, I can't just enjoy a normal life.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like I would. It's. I mean, like there's even a component. Like I've been to the point several times where really everything was so much too much, and I just like I would have loved to throw in the towel. I would have loved to just quit and just have something that is easy. Just there's like that sounds like a very sort of like first world problem thing,
Yeah.
but like the pain that I like the internal pain that I experience from not doing what
Yeah.
I feel like saying it very dramatically like called for is so much worse than any pain that pursuing it causes me,
Yeah.
that it's like it's sometimes it's really not a very like loving decision. It's not very much like, oh yeah, I love film, I love art, I love music, so I'm just going to do it because it's the greatest thing. Sometimes it's just, if I don't, then might as well like quit life altogether, because it's so much such a crucial part of what this whole experience
Yeah.
of life is for me, that I couldn't drop it.
No, I've had a lot of moments in the past year where I've been like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore because it's like I'm in a lot of ways sabotaging a lot of other aspects of my
Mm,
life for this pursuit. But then I'm like, if I give up art, I'd be dead. It's just not.
mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's, I mean, but I also feel like it's kind of this sort of reflex that almost like that saves you in a way, because it like it's it's even though it doesn't feel great, but I also feel like it's a bit reassuring that whatever impulse is in me to do this is so strong that even if I try to decide against it, it won't let me. So in a way, that means I can actually trust it.
Yeah, there's a certain security in that. Yeah. And it's probably security that most people don't experience.
Yeah.
Because you meet people. I tell you, the one thing that keeps me going is how many times you meet somebody who's middle aged or something. Like, like, if you ever. I've had this experience a lot where I'll be having a conversation with like a middle aged man, and you hear them talk, and it's just you can tell that they regret. There's so much regret in how
Yeah.
they've pursued their life, and that kind of brings me back. I'm like, okay, I don't want to be in that
Mm,
place in 20 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it definitely feels better, I think, to look back and think, would I change anything? Not really. Even if there's like struggles or things or like outcomes that I didn't particularly like at the point in time, but like would I genuinely decide anything differently? No.
Yeah, it all. it all, because if you didn't have those experiences, I have a lot of things I've done wrong that I'm like,
Yeah. Oh
oof,
God.
I don't want
Yeah.
to think of that. But
Of
if I didn't learn from that, I might have learned it now as opposed to 10
mm,
years ago.
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of does bring us back to the suffering for your art
Yeah, it's
kind of
this
thing.
it's the eternal struggle. It's like you don't want to glorify it cuz
Yeah.
I don't I've heard a lot of like comedians say like all of the greats did drugs. Like you look at Richard
Mm,
Pryor, or Sam Kinison, or all these other guys that are like insanely good at what they do, and they did tons of drugs. So
mm.
it's easy to fall into that trap. It's like, oh, if I do drugs, I'll be more creative. But then there are
Yeah.
people that are really creative that never did drugs. So yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think there's always an example, or like you'll always find proof for whatever you're trying to prove. So
yeah, yeah. I don't think you need an outside substance to be creative. I think that's a lie that people have told themselves.
yeah, yeah, no, that would be no. I think if anything, it's more the other way around, that the pressures that are being put on creative people are very hard to handle, and I feel
Mm,
like that's actually something where the current generation of artists can actually maybe make a bit of difference and try to actually change things in terms of conditions not being so harsh
yeah,
forever and ever. I feel like there's a lot that could actually be
yeah.
improved, and maybe if that does happen, then maybe drugs are no longer the go-to solution to
Well,
handle.
I think it is happening because you see less and less high profile musicians and artists that are making it that are that bad
Yeah.
because you know you could kind of hide it and get away with it in the 80s or the 70s.
Mm,
Now it's like you're just a liability,
yeah.
like, and you're
Yeah.
not going to go far.
Yeah.
And also the other thing is I think that between the internet and how cheap technology is nowadays, it's made it it's it's given legitimacy to being an artist as a career.
Mm,
Like you
yeah.
can today with your cell phone right here film a video, put it on YouTube, and say here it is. You can film a whole
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's most of us don't do it. That's the
Mm.
funny thing. We can all
Yeah.
do it, but we don't.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's kind of that's the part where there's some where some, again, like positive change can actually happen to get people to realize again that you really actually don't, like, do you need to learn your craft, everything? Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Like none of that has changed. There's still conditions that you need to meet, and there's still like work that you have to
Yeah.
do. But
There's a baseline of equipment you need, but the baseline is much cheaper than it ever was.
yeah, very
Yeah.
true. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like we couldn't have pulled off this 7-day feature film thing if we had relied on if we had relied on analog film
Yeah.
and everything connected with that. No, things are getting. I mean, like I'm one of these terrible people who still kind of argue that a lot of things are getting a lot better.
Oh
Not
yeah.
this whole like the world is ending thing is not so much.
As long as we don't go to nuclear war and we actually start doing something about climate change, we're pretty
Yeah,
good.
no, I mean, like that still is a possibility, obviously. Like
Yeah.
if someone screws up like really big time with one big thing, then yeah, that's still possible. But I still feel like generally there's a lot of very positive development that tends to not really make the news as much
It's
as
trending up.
all.
Let like you see, especially over here in the U.S., you see so many stories online, on the news and online about school shootings and all this other
Mm,
violence. But the thing is, it's easy to look at it like it's this apocalyptic situation that the world's falling apart. But what it is we're just being exposed to it more. What
yeah,
was already there,
yeah,
and it's what is there is nowhere near what it used to be.
yeah,
Like in every respect. Like there may be
yeah,
like
absolutely.
spikes, but yeah. There's a
Yeah, and I
book.
mean the way people are reacting to it as well. I mean, for every violent act there is, or for every injustice that happens, there are also very, very, very loud voices making themselves heard against it and for other people and for positive change. So it's still it's still very like it's still bad. What is some of the things that are happening are still absolutely horrible, but also that the fact that they don't go unnoticed and that they also don't just get presented as, well, this is just how it is, but that people are actually stepping up and saying, okay, so what are we going to do about it? I feel like
Yeah.
that is definitely, that's a good step. That's a good
Yeah.
thing to see
The one
happening.
that stands out to me the most with that is um like child molestation. Getting really deep here. But like if you think about it, back in the day, uh I mean, I can only speak of culture here in America, but I'm sure it was similar in Europe too, where like if a family member, like an uncle, did something to a child and the child came to their parents and said something, it was more likely that the parents would brush it under the family would brush it under the rug.
Mm,
Whereas now that guy's going to prison.
yeah,
Like we've adjusted our priorities.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
we're making small progress. Is
Yeah, yeah, and I think that is something like the people who are saying how bad the world is now, or how much, like, I feel like they're not quite accounting for the time that it takes for change to actually happen on a big scale. Because it's like, I mean, it's not even like, I mean, the change that human society has gone through over just the past 200 years in
oh,
comparison to some of the changes that took almost 2000 years before that. I feel like
just in
it's
the last
actually,
50.
yeah, yeah,
Like
absolutely. Even I mean, even the last 10 years have,
yeah.
there's been a lot of change.
Oh yeah.
So
I
yeah,
firmly
just
believe that cynicism is just laziness disguised as pragmatism. It's
yeah,
it's intellectual laziness. And I'm stealing
yeah.
that from Henry Rollins. That's something that Henry Rollins more or less said. He had a great speech about how he used to
Mm,
be this huge cynicist, and then over the course of him traveling the world and meeting all these great people, he just eroded his cynicism through that.
mm.
So it's if you have that cynical mindset, it means you're not getting out, you're not speaking with people, you're only being on Facebook and having flame wars.
Mm, wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. The danger zone that is any comment section anywhere. That no, I mean, like, I agree that that is a scary place.
I don't do it. I will not.
Yeah.
There's
No, me
there,
neither. Oh
there's
God.
times where
No.
I get
No way.
tempted. I see somebody say something so stupid, and you're just like, nope.
Mm,
I'm not wasting hours sitting here.
yeah. Yeah. No. Even I mean the like, genuinely sometimes I feel really old because, like, I feel like the emotional energy to argue with a stranger, it just uh, no,
Yeah. The
no,
the more
just no.
the older you get, the more busy you get. You're just like, I don't have time for those kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah. Now that being said, I do think it's a wise thing that to reply to everybody on your own social media as much as you
yeah, like,
can.
within within reason.
Yeah.
I mean, there are the hi messages from
Yeah.
complete strangers.
That's something you have to deal with as a woman. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm still like I'm pretty like personally I'm still pretty quiet on social media, so I really don't get much worse than hi,
Yeah.
hey, hey, how are you? So that's okay. That's not like it's not. I'm not complaining about getting those messages.
I don't get
I
those, but I get like the it's like some sort of like porn star looking chick, and it's like clearly it was a profile that was just made yesterday.
right, and yeah, sign up to somewhere something. Yeah.
The disturbing thing is when you see your other guy friends as mutual friends, like they just
Oh.
I'm like,
Mm.
oh, my friend's an idiot.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so what do you have planned after this film?
Um. Well, currently there's a bit of like a lot of smaller things that are going on because I'll actually be moving to Tokyo in November, and I've got a small team set up there where we'll be like we have actually been shooting some music videos for my band with this team, and we want to like sort of explore a bit of the film scene there and do some shorter, smaller projects. And at the same time, the Europe based team is also looking into like getting getting a few smaller things off the ground that have been sort of like these kinds of scripts that you've had lying around for a while, and they're really just short projects, but you kind of still really care about them, so you just want to get them done. And so they're going to focus on doing some of those. And then there still is a web series in the making from our UK team, which I think I still like need to push them a little bit to actually go through with it, because it was brilliant. It was like a musical about a dinosaur with like a split personality disorder. So it's fantastic, and they had already like written all the songs and everything. So
So
yeah,
does this involve like somebody in like a dinosaur costume?
probably, yeah, it'll
Yeah.
probably be like a really badly made dinosaur costume.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that
They
sort
make
of
some
thing.
pretty cool
Then
ones.
yeah, true, very true. Yeah, and then our LA based team actually also has they're just finishing up a short film. Like they're just finishing up post production of a short film that they shot last year, and so that'll be released soon, which is exciting. And then they have a web series fully written out that is about like a support therapy group for failed superheroes, or like superheroes who have like really bad kind of really bad superpowers that aren't really very useful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
so
sounds
that's
fun.
a really like hilarious scripts written by one of our awesome writers there. And
What kind of superpowers are we talking about here? Any good examples?
so yeah, so one of them has a clitoris on her elbow, and obviously that's a problem. And can't remember now actually, because they changed some of them, because originally it was a group of actors as well who were cast, but then some of them dropped out, so I think they've changed what the actual powers were. But there's also the therapist who's like really. I have to reread these scripts actually, because it's been a while since they've actually
Well, you don't want to
finished
give too
writing
much
them. But
away anyway.
yeah, true. Well, I mean, like I think the clitoris on elbow is already kind of really
That's a rough one.
fantastic, useless superpower, but also set up for some very hilarious stuff.
Well, is that really a superpower or is it more of just a birth defect?
Yeah, I guess that's probably something that she would explore in therapy. Because yeah, it's supposed to make her a superhero, but yeah, not really. Not really from what it looks like. Um, yeah, and we're also obviously planning like this 7-day feature film challenge this year. This is a thing that we actually want to keep doing every year. Because we feel like even like no matter how far we get with with our crazy big budget, insane, amazing planned film productions that we have on deck, we still all kind of feel like it's good to keep your creative muscles going with something like this where you like limit yourself on purpose so that you have to still be creative and not go into a kind of routine with anything. And also, I mean, it's just incredible fun, and yeah, this one turned out so amazingly well that we just want to do that again. So yeah, I'm kind of like trying to make everyone come to Tokyo next year and do it there.
I mean, yeah, that's getting everybody to come to Tokyo seems like a difficult proposition.
Not so much even, like, because I mean everyone kind of loves working together so much that like some of them actually after this project they were like, well, before this if you had said Tokyo, I don't know, but now after this experience, okay, bring it on. Sure. Like
And
tell me
you could
when to
get some really
come.
cool sets out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, could you just give the people a little idea of where to find you? Website, whatever.
Sure. So, like, the main thing is our company website, which is just allvisionsalign.com. And from there, you can get to all of our social media, which always just has the screen name All Visions Align. So,
Okay.
through that, you can pretty much find everything we do there. Then, obviously, the band that's also there. That's Turbo Witch, and I think by just Googling Turbo Witch, just one word, takes you pretty much everywhere because the social media is a bit different everywhere. I think it's the Turbo
Yeah,
Witch on Instagram, and then it's
I
Turbo
noticed there
Witch
was another one on
Band
YouTube.
on yeah there. But we had the name first.
Oh, okay.
Just saying we had it first, and I think we also have more views now.
Oh, that's good.
So I think they just need to deal with that we were the first ones, and uh, yeah, we're the real ones. Um, yeah, and then obviously finding me with my ridiculously like weirdly spelled name, Marei Ennis. Like it's like you misspelled Marie, so it's Marei. You can imagine the funny Starbucks cups that I get all the time. I've just
Yeah,
like started to just call myself Cersei at Starbucks now because they actually know how to spell that.
that's true. That's true. Is that at least like a common name in Germany?
What, Cersei
No, Marai.
or Marai? No, not at all. No,
Oh,
In Germany there is a slightly more common name which is Mareike. So people assume that maybe that's my name, which it's not. And then yeah, in America everyone thinks it's like it's actually in America everyone thinks it's Mariah. And then when you see it written, everyone just tends to assume my name is Marie and I just misspelled it.
hmm.
So yeah, but at least like the upside is that as soon as I've given this whole speech, people tend to remember it. So
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
I will make sure to remember it.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
All right. Well,
Also, nicknames are fine.
yeah, it was good. It was good talking to you again.
Very good talking to you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for this opportunity. And yeah, it was a very enjoyable conversation.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Mhm.
All right.
No
Take care.
problem.
Bye. Okay, the recording's over.
Yay.
Yeah, it's